This episode is sponsored by Law Tiger San Diego. If you or a loved one is injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS for a free case evaluation.
Hello, and welcome to The Scenic Ride, a podcast where we explore some of the best motorcycle rides in North America and beyond. I'm Davin.
I'm Staci.
And I'm Sanna.
So today we're going to switch things up a bit. Rather than talking about a big trip to an epic zone, I'd like to talk about a few quick day rides out of Portland. To be clear, we're talking about the Oregon Portland, not the main one. So let's get that straight, first of all. But mentioning that, as of this recording, I will be taking off in a few days to ride from Portland to Portland. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll have more coverage from that trip later on, I'm sure. But anyhow, in my opinion, this Portland metro area is a great spot for those of us that like to get around on two wheels. You can ride year-round fairly easily. You will get wet in the winter, but it usually doesn't snow, so you can usually get away with riding year-round here if you really want to. Spring, summer, and fall are all quite amazing for on-road and off-road riding. Now, before we dive in, just a quick reminder to follow The Scenic Ride on all the socials if you want to see some footage from the places we're talking about. We'll also have some hats and shirts and other stuff that you can grab on thescenicride.com. Okay, well, let's get started. There is quite literally dozens of rides you could take out of Portland to, whether you're looking for a quick rip or a couple hundred miles or maybe even, a 500-mile weekend. There are several options to choose from. But today we're just going to talk about a few of the close favorites of mine.
So I've only been to Portland one time, Davin. So tell us about Portland, because as a noob, I don't know anything about it. I got to stay one night in town and that was it. So if, it was my first time coming back, like what is Portland like?
So a lot of people know Portland by Portlandia, the television show, which is not far off. There is all of that stuff is real. I mean, there is like a real feminist bookstore. There are a bunch of weird stores that they show in the television show that are real. So it's not totally far off, but there's also a lot more to Portland than what that show shows you. So my big thing about Portland is it's a normal city that's not humongous, but it has everything you need. There's grocery stores, there's concert halls, there's water, there's mountains. There's good food, and it's easy to get around. There's good public transportation, even though I don't think I've ever taken it. But I've heard it's great. And you can be on a mountain in an hour, or you can be in an ocean in an hour. That's the cool thing about Portland. And the mountains here are neat, too, because it's not like where you're at, where you look outside and there's an entire mountain range as far as you can see. Like here, you'll be riding around and come around a corner and there's this humongous volcano mountain taking up the entire horizon. It just like seemingly pops out of nowhere, which is really cool.
That is cool. I think that area is just so interesting. And I just don't get out to the Pacific Northwest much. It's one of those like little pockets of the country that somehow just misses my radar all the time. For example, the last time I was in Portland was 2015, I think. So It's been a while, so I'm long overdue for a trip back. I do remember downtown being very hip. I do remember there being lots of like small businesses with cool restaurants and bars and stuff. So it seemed kind of like a foodie town, very artsy, like music halls, like all that kind of stuff.
Yes, very much so. Very much foodie, artsy, very granola-y also. I mean, there's a few different sides of Portland where it's a thing where if you're not from here and you move here from especially the East Coast or the Midwest, it takes a little bit of getting used to because there's no sense of urgency. People don't know how to get online. It's a little bit weird. And I just had this conversation with the guy from New York. He's originally from New York. He's been out here for 20 years and he said it still bothers him when people can't physically go to a store, grab something, get in line and leave. It's like the floaty dance is a problem out here. And if you're like trying to get to work in the morning and want a coffee, give yourself at least double the time you think it's going to take for you to.
I feel like it's kind of a West Coast thing. Like, as someone who lives in San Diego, I feel like San Diego is just like a warmer version of Portland in many ways. We're not as granola-y here, but it's a similar vibe sometimes. It's like a decent sized city. You can find everything here, but people don't wake up early. They don't wear suits. They just go stand around.
Very chill, very laid back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't have real jobs. They're, like these made up things that somehow they get paid for. Yeah. No. And I think that's some of the reason I really like it. It's like, it's not my biggest thing with like LA and Riverside County. It just seems like it's constantly, you're just grinding, it's like you've got to be grinding constantly and everything is just a thing. We're here, and I think Denver is a lot like this too. It's just everyone's a lot more chill. It's like the outdoors is a big thing.
Your quality of life matters.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
Going back to California specifically and more West Coast, the Bay Area is that way, where it's very like hustle culture focused, and it's just all about how much you can work. And don't get me wrong, I have a very great, strong work ethic. I am totally down to work 7 days a week if that's what it takes. But I think that there is a balance there. And at Portland, San Diego are both towns like that where quality of life does matter. And so, people want to go outside and they want to, enjoy their life. And Denver is very much so that way too.
Yeah.
And I think all of these towns also, especially Portland and Denver, but San Diego too, to some extent, is that they're so outdoorsy. Like people live here live there because they want to be able to go out and enjoy everything outside of the city that's so easily accessible because it's like right around the corner. You have mountains, you have hiking, you have good riding roads, you have the coast, you have lakes, rivers, all of that good stuff. And that makes for a different type of city, I think. I think it's just like a lot of Subarus, that kind of.
Yeah, no, and that literally, like, when I moved out here from Detroit, being the Motor City, and me and one other dude down the street were the only two people who had American-made vehicles. Like, it was all Subarus and Toyotas, like, everywhere. And it was a lot. Like it's interesting. It's weird. Even down in California, there's a lot more range of vehicles, but here it's definitely just like very pigeonholed into this spot. And I see it a lot like a jumping off point. So if you go to school in Ann Arbor or Austin, like you got to make that next jump, which is like, okay, am I going to go to Portland or Brooklyn? So it's like you make that jump. It's same thing. Like Boulder is another one like that, where, okay, like I'm not ready for Portland, but I'm gonna go to Boulder. And I'm sure there's a lot more of those cities popping up around, but I feel like it's very much like that. And I moved out here in 2013, moved down to SoCal in 22, and definitely missed like the green and the little bit more seasonality and just the being able to get what I need within 20 minutes, not having to go a friggin' hour to LA or something to get, to go to a show. So it's a cool town for all of that. It's just a cool spot. It's everything you need in a small area. The riding is great. You can go surfing, you can go snowboarding, you can pretty much do anything you want in Portland. And it's got a ton of really good off-road riding, adventure riding, and street riding. So I think in today's episode, we'll touch on a few of the closer, 1 to 200 mile street rides that you can do out of Portland.
Yeah, I will add to that real quick that I've been to Portland a few times, but every time I've been up there, it's been as a jumping off point to go on a motorcycle trip. And I would love to spend more time in the city because I feel like it's one of those places that I could see myself living in if it wasn't so rainy. I can't do weather. I need San Diego 75 and sunny year round. Like I'm happy to pay the sunshine tax for that, but just the vibes of Portland and the scenery really speaks to me, and I do love it up there.
Yeah, and I think that's worth my recent plan of being a rainbird, if you will. Just like spending the winter in SoCal, which I did last year, was perfect. So spending from like December, we came back up here last summer. traveled around a bunch, and then I stayed for fall dirt bike season, which is like September, October, November. Then it started raining in December. I bailed to SoCal, and basically SoCal from December through March or April is the way to do it, and then come back up here for the rest of the year. So
now the good season starts, and you're about to ditch.
yeah,
town.
I am, but it'll be fine. We just had the one show, which was great, and there's a ton of people in town, and I took my friend Cass out to the Tillamook and gave her like a 35-mile loop of everything. We did some, sketchy single track with exposure. We did some fun flowy stuff. And I mean, it's just like she was worried about swallowing bugs because she's like, every time I go around a corner, I'm just like, oh, what? And it's just like so beautiful that there was a lot of open mouth breathing and excitement, which is fun. So I love that. And it's just, there's so many great people up here too. I think there's a lot of weirdos for sure, but that's everywhere. But
Portland is weird, but
Portland is weird.
A good weird. But then again, I lived in Austin and I live in Denver, so maybe my idea of good weird is different from others.
Yeah, no, I think we're on the same. We're all in the same kind of wavelength. I think with our places that we choose to live. Yeah, so it's fun, and I think Portland's got some pretty seriously good bumper sticker game too. Okay, well, let's talk about riding motorcycles for a few minutes, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, so Scappoose Vernonia Highway. This is a road that goes from Scappoose to Vernonia. Is it a highway? No. Is it called a highway? Yes. That's just something they like to do in Oregon. So when you see a road called a highway, don't expect it to be, 2 lanes in each direction with a median in the middle, because most of the time it's not. But we do have those roads. Those are not the highways that we will be discussing here. So in order to get to the Scappoose Vernonia Highway, you're going to want to take Highway 30 out of Portland. You're going to be going northwest-ish, and take this out about 20 miles to Scappoose. And it's just a little town with gas stations and restaurants and a Goodwill and some apartments. And if you're looking to get a breakfast, there's a couple of good spots out there for that. So there's decent food out there as well. And there's food carts are a big thing in Oregon. So there is a great food cart pod out in Scappoose that I've been frequenting quite a bit lately. So if I, go and take this Scappoose Vernonia rib, I will get at least one meal out on the way. So there's a few different spots to choose from.
What is a food cart? Is it a food truck?
Yep.
Okay. I've never heard it called that.
Yeah. So they're called carts because it's a food trailer. Right. So there's no truck part, but there are. So when I say food cart, it could be a trailer or a truck. So depending on, some people have trucks, some people have trailers. But the pods are the parking lots that they're all over the city. They're everywhere. And they've started to grow over the bridge to Washington and to Vancouver and out to Scappoose and out to Sandy. I'll mention another one than Sandy on one of the other roads that we talk about today. But great question.
Yeah, I was like, that's very Portlandia of you. I've never heard that word before.
Yep. So they're food cart pods. But rip out to Scappoose Vernonia. And this is probably the closest. Well, I shouldn't say the closest, because you can still be in the city and be hitting twisty canyon roads, which is neat. Like when I was working at Icon, you could literally go 5 blocks up the hill and you could be on Skyline, which is a pretty fun curvy road. And also of note is Forest Park in Portland is the largest city park in the country, I believe, I've been told. So if you're into hiking or any of that kind of stuff with your feet, that's a big thing up here is hiking. And I don't know if everyone knows that you're allowed to do other things. But
off the motorcycle, it's okay to not do that.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, getting sidetracked here. So once you get out to Scappoose Vernonia Highway, you take that towards Vernonia, and it's a fun road. It's got a lot of elevation changes. It's super curvy, and within minutes you're in the sticks. So it's quite a fun little ripper. You do need to be careful if you're riding it in the fall, because the leaves get very slippery, and especially if they're wet, it can be quite treacherous. So keep that in mind. It's a definite spring, summer, and early fall ride. But the roads out there's trees everywhere, so they can get a little bit sketchy with the leaf fall.
Since the 47 kind of goes up and over some mountains, does that area get snow? Like, is that a thing you need to consider? Or
very rarely. So the Coast Range is so small that you don't really have to worry about snow. Normally out there, you will get a few dustings. Closer to Tillamook, they will get snow that sticks for the winter, but that usually doesn't happen until January. So you can ride out in the Tillamook until late January, early February, and then it'll start to accumulate out that way. So yeah, the Scappoose Vernonia Road actually ends at the 47, and the 47 goes from Highway 26 up to Highway 30 in Astoria. So this whole section that we're talking about, there's a lot of good riding up there, and they're all very fun roads. Like 47 goes up through Mist, which is another spot that we're not going to ride to today, but there's Mist Mountain. And when I say Mist Mountain, it's probably a couple thousand feet, but it is a very fun, like, rippy uphill. And there's very little traffic, so they're super fun to ride. And that over Mist Mountain into Klatskinny, I think the name is of the town up there. Yeah, Klatskinny. And then you can go all the way up to Astoria, where Goonies was filmed. So there's still like the Goonies house and some other stuff like that. And then once you're in Astoria, you're in the northwest corner of Oregon. So you can take the coast down through like Seaside and to the actual town of Tillamook, where the cheese and ice cream comes from.
You can also take a really cool bridge into Washington.
You can. The bridge into Washington is cool. And the coolest part about that is once you get to Washington, you can ride to Long Beach and ride on the beach. So that's fun because it's legal to ride and park on the beach up there. So you're on the Pacific Ocean riding on the beach and you're not going to get yelled at.
That's pretty cool. I've been up that way once. I think it was 2019. I rented an Eagle Rider out of Portland when they still had an Eagle Rider there.
Yep.
And it was the first time that I tried to rent a Heritage Softail and they gave me a Street Glide instead, which now happens every time.
All the time, right?
It started my love-hate relationship with the Street Glide. But I did take it out to the coast. I did ride it to Astoria and I crossed the very cool bridge up there. Yep. And I definitely did ride it out on some sandy beach where I pretty much almost got stuck and couldn't turn it around because it was so big and heavy and I was by myself. Yep. But I really wanted a photo of the big bike on the beach. And I did get that. But what you don't see in the photo is the absolute terror on my face when I try to turn it around and get it back out of there. But I made it eventually.
Yeah, that's a cool zone up there too. And there's also there's a vintage RV park up towards Long Beach called the Sou'wester, where you can rent, like, you can overnight stay in like old Airstreams and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's a really fun spot. And like I said, there's so many places to ride and like weird little spots like that up here and around the area within a couple of hours that we could talk about this for a week. Yeah, there's stuff everywhere and there's cool spots and trees and beaches, and you can see a bunch of like big cargo ships up in Astoria. There's decent food. There's custard. There's a couple little shipwrecks on the coast that you can go and check out. It's quite neat.
Yes, I agree. I think the Oregon coast is it's so beautiful. And we've talked about this in our Pacific Coast Highway episode, that it's the same coast. It's the west coast of the United States, but it's a completely different vibe up in the Pacific Northwest compared to like in Southern California or even Northern California. So I love that there.
Cass and I were talking about that on Monday on the way up to Tillamook to ride dirt bikes. How it's just like, why does it look like that? It's like, these crazy rocks and cliffs and dwellings, and just, it's super neat.
So as a foodie, this is a pop quiz, where you're talking about food carts. So what is your favorite food cart in Scappoose, since you said that that's a spot you like to go to for snacks?
There is an El Salvadorian cart in this pod in Scappoose, and it has pupusas. And so the thing I got last week or 2 weeks ago when I was out there was, it's a desayuno number 2. So it's a number 2 breakfast. It's got 2 pupusas. I get 1 pork, 1 chicken. It's got a fried egg on top of each one. and it's got avocado and plantains. What's
Ooh.
not to love, for me at least, or for, as long as you eat the meats. But I'm sure they have veggie ones too. But it's super good. And there's like an Italian pizza cart there. There's a sushi cart. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But I just like the friggin' pupusa so much. I keep going back to that spot.
I don't think this is like an important thing, but I just had a conversation about Salvadorian food with a friend the other day, and we were saying, do you say El Salvadorian or do you just say Salvadorian?
I think you just say Salvadorian, because I'm pretty sure this cart truck only says Salvadorian on it.
Again, not the main point of this episode, but just
Salvadorian food from the Salvador.
The Salvador. The one and only.
Yeah, exactly. The Salvador. But yeah, it's so good. And that's the cool thing about carts is you can go to this one spot and there's a dozen options and everyone in your party can eat what they want. I was sitting on one corner of it. There's like a little brew house kind of in the middle of the pod where you can go in and get your drinky poos if you'd like. And there was a lot of people getting like Reubens and whatever other kind of sandwiches from this other cart that looked pretty damn good. And they were pretty popular, so they must be delightful.
For all the glutenators, not us.
Yep.
That'd be Sanna, as long as there's no meat in it.
I'm going to assume that this is close enough to Portland that they're going to have a lot of options for people with dietary restrictions.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
How far is Scappoose from Portland? Like 20 minutes?
Yep.
And how far is Scappoose to like Astoria, for reference? Is that like an hour and a half?
Yep,
or?
Exactly. Probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. Maybe
Sweet.
not that long. If you're taking the fun way, it's probably a couple hours. But you can take the back way and it's fun the whole way.
Sweet. So you really could do like a big loop from Portland this way. So you could do like the Scappoose Highway to Astoria, hit the coast for a little bit, and be back to Portland by the afternoon.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's
no,
awesome.
easily. You
a little
can
bit of everything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like if you want to go out for 100 miles, you can do this little Scappoose Vernonia loop. If you want to go out for 300 miles, you can do, Portland to Astoria to Tillamook and back, which is probably not even 300. There's so much in either direction. I would probably stick east or west, though, not north or south, because if you go north, you have to go to Washington, and we know how those people are.
No, we don't.
Their damn license plates. Yeah. No, we'll be in Washington in one of these next rides that we're talking about. That's probably my favorite one, to be honest. But the Scappoose Vernonia is just the quick, like, I need to get out for a couple minutes before I do my chores on Sunday. So yeah, head up from Portland, go to Scappoose to Vernonia. And then from Vernonia, I take Timber Road, which the road south of Vernonia splits into a Y a couple miles outside of town. I think it's just 47 goes back to Highway 26, or you take the Y that goes through Timber Road. And that brings you just further out 26 a little bit, and you cross it, and then you get to this town called Timber, which is just, basically a building and 3 houses. But it's got like this really tight S curve that goes through town. And then once you get out, you just start climbing, and it's just like you're just S curves down the side of this mountain, and it brings you out to Highway 6, which you can take Highway 6 out to the coast there too, because there's Highway 30, Highway 26, Highway 6, all go out to the coast to different areas. 6 goes right out to Tillamook, the city. And then that's where all of your Tillamook State Forest stuff is, the dirt bikes, Rogers Camp, Browns Camp, Jordan Creek, Diamond Mill, etc. That is dirt bike friggin' dream world.
What kind of, do you need a permit? What kind of land is it? Is it National Forest, BLM?
It's state forest.
OHV? Okay, state forest.
State forest. Yep, it's all state forest. So you do need the Oregon sticker, which you can buy online now, and you just have this screenshot of your email until you get the actual sticker. They used to sell it at gas stations, but the one out there on the way that we used to always buy it from no longer has the books of stickers. So they just say, hit that QR code, go online and buy it. Do it now, because that is literally where the cell phone service stops. Get your email that says you got it, and then go on and play, because they do. There's rangers out there pretty much always on the weekends, because there's hundreds of miles of trails out there, and there's everything from green beginner rides to blue to triple black diamond. So a little bit of everything out there. And I think stickers are $10 or $12.
So explain stickers to me. I'm a dirt bike noob. Are these stickers just to ride on any like Forest Service road? So like, do you need one for a Pan America, or like, my dirt bike is plated, it's street legal. So how does that
Different.
work? Every state is different. So explain.
Yes. So every state is different. So sometimes you need a sticker. Sometimes your license plate is fine. So most of the time out here, if you're on a plated vehicle, whether it's a bike or a dirt bike, an adventure bike, a Jeep, whatever, and you're riding the trails, you have to have the sticker.
Okay. That's like the Black Hills, like South Dakota's that way. You have
Yep.
to have the sticker.
Exactly. Some states, if you have a license plate, like California, if you have a license plate, you're fine because you don't have a green or a red sticker, which I still don't know what all that stuff means. So I now on my Husky have a non-resident sticker for California. I have an Oregon sticker. I have an Arizona sticker. And then I also, in Utah, this is good to know too, Stacy, you have to go online and take a course that says you're safe to ride your ATV in Utah.
I read something online that said if you had a plated vehicle, you were okay. But
Okay.
I'll have
That's
to go
probably
back.
right. Yeah, I know I'm the guy who just has them all just because it's like, okay, well, I'll probably never get asked for this, but I do have I just saw it in my little wallet yesterday on my phone.
You're such a law-abiding citizen.
Utah ATV education certificate.
Look, there you go. I want to say, because I looked it up just to double check before our trip, and it said if it was plated, it was fine, I'm pretty sure. Because I looked up for the Pan America too. And because like, obviously my Husky's a 4-stroke. So for you, like your Husky's a 2-stroke. And I don't think 2-strokes can be legally registered with plates, right? I think that's normal.
Some states they can.
I think in some states, not in California.
We hijacked your podcast with sticker knowledge, but
yeah, no, this is all important.
Yeah, it's good information to have and to understand.
Yeah, and a lot of states used to be reciprocal too, and a lot of that has stopped recently. So in Washington, you're supposed to register your vehicle with the Department of Motor Vehicles as an off-road vehicle to ride off-road. Excuse me, they don't just have the stickers, which is insane because their DMVs are private. So I attempted to do it on my bike, and there was 35 people in line on Saturday morning, and your boy wasn't going to wait in that line. But every state's a little bit different, so definitely check your local laws and regulations before you get out there and wrap it up.
Next, where are we going next?
All right, so now I guess once you're back on 6, you can either go to the coast or go back into Portland and choose your own adventure at that point. 6 connects to 26 and you're back in the suburbs. So head back to Portland, go home, and do your chores. The next one I want to bring up is the Mount Hood Loop. So this one, I believe you've ridden the gorge before, Stacy. Maybe you too, Sanna, is the Mount Hood Loop. So I like to head out on 84 into the gorge, out to Hood River. And Hood River is kind of like a little baby Portland, but it's even more outdoorsy. That's where you get into like Nordic skiing and kiteboarding and windsurfing, because the gorge is I think the gorge is where windsurfing was invented, allegedly. You go out there on a nice windy day and there's people just booking through that sumbitch on their little kiteboards and windsurfing devices, which is pretty fun to watch because dude, you get going so fast out there. It's crazy.
The one time I got to go out here, again, it was over 10 years ago now, but we were riding to a women's motorcycle campout that was held in Washington State. So we crossed over into Washington and Hood River from Portland. So I rode that little stretch. It was raining, but it was beautiful. So even though I could barely see, because it was Portlandia-ing, I just remember it being super pretty. And I've heard so many good things about riding that gorge and how, even if you do a loop that goes, maybe you do go across in Hood River and then take, the Washington side back to Portland. I've heard so many good things about that ride if you can time the weather right.
Was that the first Dream Roll?
It was.
Did we ride there together?
No. It was the one that was up by Mount Adams, and it was on an old airstrip and it rained all weekend.
Yeah.
And everyone got weird in the woods.
Yep, that's the one.
That's the one.
That's the first dream roll. That was 2015. I was there too.
Yeah. I rode with Mitch and
I did
one or
too.
two other girls.
Did we ride together?
God, is this what my life
it was
has come
so
to?
long ago.
I can't remember anything.
I mean, we had a cab. Did you stay in the cabin with us?
Yes, because
That's funny.
Yes, I remember staying. Okay, well, we're hijacking this podcast.
No, do it
with side quests. But so once upon a time, I used to be one of the greats, and I would party really hard. But I also didn't really get hangovers back then because I was so young. I was like
Lucky.
24 back in the day. Once upon a time. So anyway, I fell asleep in a hammock in that dome because I drank my brains out that night. And they also had, because for those who aren't from this area, Washington, like marijuana is legal. So there were these like THC ice creams, like all this stuff was available at this camp out. So we're all just going ham, listening to music till 4 a.m. All I know is that I passed out in this weird dome thing in a hammock. And like Mallory was taking pictures of me because I was just zonked. And I woke up and apparently crawled back to the cabin at just the right time because shortly afterwards, high winds came through and like ramsacked that whole dome tent thing. And like the whole cover went flying. Like this thing looked like Epcot. Like it was like this big, huge, like geometric dome. And so there was multiple, like there was a couch in it. Like this thing was huge. Anyway, high winds came in and just took it. So I got out of there just in time, apparently, because, yeah.
It's so funny because we apparently went there together, shared a cabin. Neither of us remember the other person being there. But this was my experience. I did the opposite of what you did. I basically went, the weather was shit. I wasn't feeling like partying. I just went to bed early and read a book. And I was asleep before anyone else even got into the cabin. And then the next night, I heard all these stories about like, all these women dancing topless in the fields and like just massive parties all night long. And I missed out on all of that.
None of us had shirts on.
Yeah.
We just sent it.
It's exactly what everyone thinks happens at all women's motorcycle events.
Yeah. That
so
night,
funny.
That night got weird. Like it got like, I mean, there was weirder things that happened that I did not partake in, but like that was one of those nights where I was like, this is what dudes think happens at all these campouts. And they're making the stories come.
Oh, yeah. That's hilarious. So who else was with you guys? It was you two, Mitch, and who? Who rode up there?
There's a girl named Megan from Southern California that was with us. She was on a white Sportster. I do remember that.
I think Nicole was there. Chicken and a Biscuit, Nicole.
Yep. Okay. She was there. Mallory was there when she still had purple hair and was still a wild child. And there were some others, but I can't remember them all. But I do remember when we did leave that Sunday to go back to California, it was pouring rain. And so when we went back through the gorge to get back through Portland, because that's the way the route took us, we couldn't see anything. Like I remember going across the Hood River Bridge and just like...
Oh, jeez. So you guys like took 395 down then? Or
because you guys rode the whole way up there, right? I didn't do that. That's probably why. Like I met up with everyone in Portland at the Ace Hotel in the morning.
That's it. Why. You met us in Portland and did the last little stretch. Were you there? We're totally going off topic. Were you there when I found Becky's passport and like her wallet and everything at the gas station in Hood River?
Oh God.
Oh, maybe. That rings a bell.
So this is how Becky and I became friends, basically, because Becky Gable used to...
Are you talking Axel? Yeah, okay.
Yes. Axel Co. So Axel Co. Becky loses her passport and like her whole like existence. Mind you, she was Canadian at the time. She didn't have American citizenship yet. So she was living full time up in Canada, put on this women's motorcycle event with a friend in Washington State, loses her passport and driver's license at a gas station in Hood River. This lady's like, this girl on a motorcycle just lost this. And she just showed me the picture of her. And I was like, oh, that's Becky. I know her. I can take it to her. So she gave me all of Becky's stuff, which was like very nice of her because like she didn't have to do that. She could have been like, we're going to hold this and hope she comes back. Anyway, somewhere between me getting this passport and all of Becky's stuff, Becky ends up passing us, but we don't know because it's raining. And so Becky finally comes back to the campground. His campground's probably an hour and a half from that gas station. Finally gets back to the campground and she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, because she was like, I'm never going to get back to Canada. She was like, I'm stuck here forever. And she shouldn't have any of her documents anymore because she lost them at the gas station. So anyway, ever since then, I saved Becky's life the first time. There's been a second time.
Yeah,
but
good work. We'll save that for next episode.
Yeah, we'll save that for a Sturgis episode. But yeah, that area is beautiful.
Really beautiful.
So
I also, again, I didn't ride up there with you guys from California. I flew in and borrowed a Dyna from this old dude I met at EDR who just offered me his Dyna, which was so nice.
Wasn't it a T-Sport?
No, it was like an FXDB. No, what is it? FX, one of those older, like 2000s. I don't remember.
Like a police model? Did it have underbags?
No, I don't think it might have had some just like leather saddlebags, but it didn't have a fairing or anything like that. It wasn't just like a fancy one.
This memory is all becoming very clear. Like now that you're giving, I remember this.
Yeah, and I had a Sportster at home at the time, and I borrowed this Dyna. It was the first time I rode like a bigger bike like that, and it had the worst clutch. It was so stiff, I could barely pretty much. Yeah, we left Portland on a Friday afternoon in rush hour traffic, and I could barely pull in the clutch with one hand. I had to like use two hands. And by the time we got to our destination, my hands were dead. This is my strongest memory from this weekend is how much my hand hurt. But still, when I got back home to San Diego, I immediately rode my Sportster over to San Diego Harley and traded in for a brand new Dyna that I still have to this day.
That's so funny.
It just sold me on the bigger bike. So that's my dream roll Dyna origin story.
Yeah.
Love it.
The gorge.
Yeah. But yeah, back to how beautiful this ride is.
So the gorge is beautiful. You can do 84 on the Oregon side or 14 on the Washington side, depending on if you want to get quickly or slower. So either way is beautiful. You can cross here in Portland. There's a couple bridges you can cross the river. You can cross in Cascade Locks, whereas Bridge of the Gods, that one costs a couple bucks to go across. And I don't think there's toll on the Hood River one anymore. I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, Hood River is rad. Lots of cool spots. Lots of, again, like coffee shops, breweries, local goods. So definitely worth a stop in Hood River too. There's also some really good dirt bike riding outside of Hood River on both sides of 35.
I will say that the Bridge of the Gods, even though it costs a couple of dollars to cross, I think it's worth it. It's a really cool bridge. It's beautiful. If you read Cheryl Strayed's Wild, her memoir of hiking the PCT,
that's where it ends.
That's where the story ends. Yeah, actually, ends at the Bridge of the Gods, and it's a dramatic bridge over a dramatic gorge. Basically, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I took my new 360 camera out there the other day and tried to get some footy, so I need to edit that still. But yeah, it's a cool spot. That whole area is neat. Yeah, so cross wherever you feel like it. Follow your heart, as I like to say.
Isn't there, like, if you keep going past Hood River, isn't there like some pretty cool S curves and stuff that give you like I've seen. I'm one of those people that will ride to a place because I like to see like the iconic photo stop.
Yep.
Right. Isn't there like a spot just east of Hood River that a lot of people go to because it's one of those like iconic road shots?
Yes, that is there. It's in Mosier. It's just past Hood River. It's on Old Highway 30. And I don't remember the name of it right now, but that was the cover photo for the Butler map for many years. And I think they changed it on the last generation. But yeah, it's, that section of Highway 30 is really cool. Highway 30 keeps falling into the river too, so it's much like the Pacific Coast Highway. Every year there's another mudslide or a fire or something that creates some havoc for the whole deal. But there's tons of waterfalls along that whole area. That road is really good, and there was also a wildfire 2 years ago out that way where a bunch of houses and structures were lost just past those curves because you pop out back on 84 basically just past there.
I'm playing around on Google Maps right now with the satellite man, and it looks so sick. That's a worthy extension.
Yeah, it's that whole area is just like there's even between Hood River and Portland there's some overlooks and some little cute spots. that I can't think of any of the names of right now, but
It's hard because I think this whole area is pretty photogenic, you know.
it is.
You
Yeah.
said Hood River's a good like foodie stop. Where would you recommend people go? I think when we talked about this last, there was like some, you know, me, I'm a coffee nerd. I think there was some like motorcycle coffee place there or something like Kickstands Coffee. Did we talk about this or am I making this up?
We might have. I don't know if there's one there or not. I know.
Yeah,
here in Portland,
I'm
that's
looking on the
another
map.
thing.
There's a kickstand coffee and kitchen in Hood River. I know nothing
Okay.
about it other than I'm seeing it on the map.
I've never been there.
I'm looking at the Google review photos right now. This is my life hack of how to find good food on the road. I look at because a bad photographer can't mess up good food.
Yeah.
So, and these are people, you know, boomers with iPhones. So,
Yep.
and the food looks really good. So that spot looks tight.
There's that spot, and then there is a new taco joint there that are kind of like the gourmet tacos, but they're good. It's called Love and Hominy.
Ooh.
It's a hip stop for fusion tacos and cocktails.
That
So they
sounds so
are-
hip.
Yeah, it's very hip. And I mean, they're like, the tacos have like, you know, just weird ingredients, but they're so damn good. I call these like designer tacos.
I call them fusion tacos. They like
Yeah.
it, they're fancy.
Yeah, they're definitely fusion tacos, and it says right on the description. So yeah, there's a, I call them designer tacos. So whether you call them designer tacos or fusion tacos, they're completely different from normal,
Legitimate.
delicious Mexican tacos or white people tacos or whatever. So these are all in separate little silos. Yeah, these ones have like, you know, a bunch of weird fruits and vegetables on them, and you know but they're good.
This
They're
sounds
good.
like my jam. Like this, I love a good designer taco.
Yeah,
Even though
no,
I
they're-
live near Mexico, I like authentic Mexican food too. But there's just, since I don't eat meat, I'm just limited. I just end up eating a lot of beans and cheese.
Avocados.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they have like some weird jackfruit, you know, like
Mhm. That's
dandelion
the stuff.
medley that just, you know, absolutely blows your fucking pants right off.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of places, and they have all the delicious beverages, and the wallpaper is even like super vibey. So it's one of those things where it's tough to go wrong in that spot.
Love it.
But there's a lot of that kind of stuff. There's little taco trucks there. There's a few like mom and pop greasy spoon spots. A lot of breweries, like I said, that do good food. And then wine is another big thing out there. So there's Oregon Wine Country runs, I think, from there a little bit, and then it kind of has an opening spot, and then there's more south of Portland. So there's options out there. There's actually so when you take 35 south towards Mount Hood, there's a spot called the Fruit Loop that is more of a bicycle ride than a motorcycle ride, but it's because there's just apples and grapes out there. So you're doing a little loop between the restaurants and vineyards and wineries out there. But that's so 35 then south to Mount Hood is gorgeous. You know, you'll be coming through and kind of weaving around, and then all of a sudden there's this gigantic volcano mountain again that takes over the entire horizon. And that is I got a cat. That is a legitimate highway. But it's, again, pretty quiet, and it's fun to ride. But once you get out there to government camp, not as much food or beverages, but there is some cool stuff to look at out there. Most of the resorts are open year round, I think, for mountain biking. And there's the hotel from The Shining, I think it is, up at Timberline.
I thought that was the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, Estes
Oh, I
Park.
don't know.
I was gonna say, I think that was. So I've never seen The Shining. You guys know me. I'm not the one for movie pop quizzes, but I think that's it. But there could be more than one.
Yeah,
It could be
maybe
more than
this
one.
isn't The
I've
I've
Shining.
never
That's-
seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to look this up. But yeah, there's a hotel up there from a movie. Any hoozle. Yeah, there's some stuff to check out in government camp, but it's mostly just touristy crap if you want to go snowboarding or skiing at the mountain. And then I would take 26 south from there, or I guess it's not south, it's technically west. Take 26 west back into Portland. And as you're going down the hill, or once you get to the bottom of the hill, there's a town called Sandy that has another food cart pod with some good options. And there's a Thai trailer there that I really like.
Tell us more.
They've got Thai, and the lady there makes a mean pad Thai with beef. I like that, and I also like their massaman curry. But in that pod, there's also, I don't remember what's there because it's been a minute, but that's a more recent addition, I guess, in the last 5 or 6 years that's popped up. And I don't know, I just like being able to have options. Like you stop in a parking lot and you can try 5 or 6 different spots depending on how you're feeling that minute, which is always good.
Yeah, there's food trucks or food carts, excuse me. How dare I? In Texas, we call them food trucks. And so that's just, and when I lived in Austin, food trucks are a huge part of the community culture there. And yeah, it was like, okay, you go to a little food truck trailer park and there's 8 different options. You have Chinese, you have Mexican, you have Texas style barbecue. You've got, everything. And
Cat 30.
It's Cat 30. It's minutes o'clock. Mm-hmm. But there's so many different options. And then you can, if you're there with a handful of friends, for example, the 3 of us, I'm gluten mildly intolerant. Davin cannot have gluten. He's celiac. And Sanna, you're vegan, vegetarian, depending on what you're feeling that day. So it's one of those, it's just nice to be able to go and then everyone has an option. You know?
I love it. You don't have to, sit there and talk about it for an hour about it. Where are we going to eat? Just go to the pod.
We're going to the pod. We're going to the food cart. Food cart trailer park.
Yeah, that's my 2 best friends here in San Diego. One of us is gluten intolerant, one is vegetarian, and one is lactose intolerant. So when the 3 of us have to go eat somewhere, it's like we always do girl dinner, and food trucks would be a good option. Can I just really quickly circle back to the Shining thing? Because I looked it up now.
Yes.
And I want this to be correct. So the Timberline Lodge in Government Camp was actually where they shot the exterior of the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park in Colorado was the hotel that inspired Stephen King to write The Shining. But the actual interior shots of the hotel were mostly shot on a soundstage in London.
Okay. So 3 completely different things.
Yeah. So we were all right. And
that's cool.
Yeah. Now we can move on.
Nice. Well, thanks for looking that up. Fact check. And then my favorite ride locally is one that also starts in the gorge. Take the gorge out. I usually take 84 out to the Bridge of the Gods, cross over to 14, take that over to Carson, and then you take Wind River Road north from 14 through Carson, gas up there. And I thought this whole zone was called, or this whole road was called Wind River Road, but it's not. It's National Forest 30, or it has some other name. But this road is my local favorite racetrack. It's fast. It's fun. It climbs up in elevation pretty significantly, and there's never a ton of traffic on it, which is great. Wind River Road goes up about 13 miles, I think, and then it splits into Meadow Creek Road, which is also called National Forest 60. And this road is where it gets fun. It starts climbing in elevation. There's 6 or 7 miles of just nonstop S-curves all the way up the side of this place. And then you end up at the top. And I usually go back down because it's so much fun. Like, it is my favorite road around. Once you're up to the top of this, I don't know if it's a mountain or a hill or whatever we want to call it, but you take a left onto National Forest 90, I believe, and there's a lookout that looks out over the melty side of Mount St. Helens.
The melty side? What does that mean?
I think it's the melty side. Or no, maybe the melty side is on the other side.
Where
so Mount St. Helens, Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, so it's missing the tip. So, yes, it's not the melty side. It is the backside. But you get to look at Mount St. Helens like it's right in front of you, which is pretty cool.
Are these forest roads paved?
They are. Oh. And they're paved pretty well up to this point. So the one I was talking about going up the hill is perfect pavement. And then the one you turn to go to the Outlook is pretty good. Once you pass the Outlook and get down to the bottom of, for sure, I think it's called National Forest 90, it is a potholed nightmare. but they're all spray painted with pink or yellow paint. So you see them coming. Because it's one of those things where like you're riding through a tunnel of trees, so your eyes take a minute to adjust, and with the sun coming through, it's hard to see. But yeah, all the potholes on this section are painted, so you're get a little bit of a notice. And then you take this road, and it kind of curves around a couple of reservoirs to a town called Cougar. And this is where you stop for. You can stop for. There's a restaurant, a gas station with a pump, and a couple of lodges. You can like dunk your junk in the reservoir if you want to. There's a boat launch at the end of town. And then as you cruise through there, you can either take that all the way back to I-5, or you can take 503 South, which I enjoy. And from Cougar to Amboy, there's another little racetrack section that is super fun to ride on. It's twisty and fun, and has a little bit of elevation changes up and down. And then you're basically stuck in suburban hell for about 20 minutes as you like navigate the stoplights that you can't split on.
How long would you say that this ride takes to do? Is this like an all-day ride, or is this...
No, this one you can probably do in 3 hours, 3 to 4. This is probably the best half-day ride you can do. And it's probably the one that I would pick, take you on, and recommend.
As you've been talking through this podcast, I've been looking at the satellite imagery. Like I've been dropping the Google Man down onto some of these roads that you're talking about. And I will say that this route looks the most fun. The pavement looks really good, which of course we know that isn't always accurate, but it looks pretty good in the satellite imagery. And then, or the Google Man imagery. Those are totally different things. But this area, Sanna, is really close to where that original Dream Roll was up in Trout Lake. So super, super similar. And I remember the riding when I was there 11 years ago. I remember being like, I want to come back here because it was just, the pavement was enjoyable. And like the scenery was just great. So I think just from the handful of roads and rides you've talked about, I'm like, this is the one I want to do.
Yeah, there's a lot. And like, if you check out McClellan Viewpoint on your Google machine right now, you'll see that lookout over St. Helens. And again, like if you're just cruising around and you get to a high point, there's a couple lookouts that I go to on my adventure bike where you're at the top of this hill and you can see Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, Mount Rainier, and Mount Jefferson.
Dang.
From the top of these things. And it's like...
That's so cool.
Super cool.
Love a good overlook.
Yeah. There's a couple of good ones, and there's a really good one. There's a little secret ADV trail that I like to take between basically where you are on that McClellan lookout and Vancouver, Washington, that you can take all the way across this spot. And I just call it Lookout Mountain because you get to the top, you can see all that stuff. And it's pretty cool. But yeah, that is that spot, Little Trout Lake. I think that's where like our friend Ilsa is from. She's from over that way.
Oh yeah, she's from some like little teeny tiny town somewhere. I'm trying to figure out where. So when I was on that big street glide against my will in 2019, I rode up to Mount Rainier National Park. That's the main reason I rented a bike, to check off the national park. And then I came down back to Portland through kind of the back roads, like in between, I guess, Mount Adams
and there's some
Mount St. Helens.
Good ones back there.
Yeah, I'm looking at that road on the map right now, and that's another forest road, NFD 25, I think. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's the one I took, and that one
kind of spits you out in Packwood or something, possibly. That's a good one.
I think I came all the way down to probably Carson, and then took the Gorge route back.
Probably did.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but either way, I just remember it being so beautiful and twisty and green, and also like no traffic at all. Like
that whole area on both sides of the river in Washington or Oregon, from Hood River to the Pacific, there's not much bad. It is so good, and you just like these roads that lead to nowhere, basically, that are awesome. And there's waterfalls and dunk junkin spots just galore. It's pretty good.
Yes, I love that.
There's a spot called Lower Lewis River Falls that is like a huge sippy hole / waterfall zone where you can just go and float, and you can basically ride your bike up to it. We used to do that quite a bit back in the day, and then everyone got busy and stopped doing it.
And then we all grew up and couldn't go anymore.
Sweet. Well, yeah, the Northwest is a good place to ride around and check out some things and eat foods and ride your bikes and do all the stuff. So if you've got time to do it, we'd love to have you.
Yes, sign me up. I'm
Yeah.
totally down.
Can't wait to go back.
Let's figure this out for later in the year or early next.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd really love you if you could rate and review it and subscribe to the show. Also, follow The Scenic Ride on all the socials and check out thescenicride.com for previous episodes, merch, and to sign up for our newsletter. Next time, Sanna will be telling us all about the Vermilion Cliffs area of northern Arizona. So stay tuned for that. But until then, enjoy the ride. That was terrible.
I thought it was pretty good. The Scenic Ride is hosted by Stacy Wilt, Davin Ortonen, and me, Sanna Bowman. Our theme music is by Ryan Sin. If you like the show, please rate and review it and tell your friends to listen. For all the latest updates, follow @The Scenic Ride on Instagram or visit thescenicride.com. Thanks for listening.